So now I want to thank our wonderful partner and sponsor, United again. And I'm really excited to pass this off to Nikisha Ramsey, who will be our moderator and also give a little bit of an introduction.
Well, no, thank you, Anna, and the Women Who Code team for this phenomenal opportunity. We could not be more excited at United about our future and about celebrating the phenomenal women in our technology organization. And just to give you a couple of highlights of where we're headed as an organization, we are really taking strides to be the best airline in aviation history. I'll give you just a couple of bullet points around that. So we're actually going to be investing in 500 new aircraft over the next several years. So when you fly United, you will be flying the flyest planes. You will be riding in style. We're also really leading the industry in how we're investing in our greenhouse emissions. So we are investing in technologies to make us become a friendlier airline to our environment, and we're leading in that industry. But one of the most exciting things that we're doing in this space as a recruiter and a leader in recruiting, it makes me so thrilled. We're hiring 25,000 people over the next 5 years into the organization, and get this, 400 of those folks are going to be in our technology organization. And so we're leaning on technology to make us a more efficient airline, to make our employees more efficient, and really to make our customers enjoy travel and make travel easy. And so those are just a couple of highlights that I'd like to share as we jumpstart this conversation. The next thing I'd like to do is just showcase a quick 2-minute video that will give you some highlights of what United's been up to on the tech space over the last couple years, and then we can pass it to our panelists. So let's go ahead and cue the video. Give us one moment while we get the sound ready.
Anna, I can't hear now.
Okay, one moment, everybody. Thanks for your patience. My computer's not on mute, but there might be something else that we can work on.
And maybe we can save the video for last, if that's possible. We can absolutely do that.
Wonderful idea.
I can just give you a synopsis of the video. The synopsis is: never let a crisis go to waste. And United Airlines did not. We did 10 years worth of development and delivering new products and new technology over the course of the pandemic. And it's just made us a more customer-friendly organization. And so we'd like to share a little bit more about what's happened in the tech space. And so I think this is a great time to introduce our phenomenal panelists. And so I will ask our panelists to give just a 60-second overview of your career and anything else you'd like this team to know. So I'm going to call on Becky first.
Hi, my name is Becky Selzer. I'm currently Chief of Staff to our Chief Digital Officer, Linda Jojo. You might have briefly seen her in that clip. We'll get some audio hopefully playing for you soon. I have been in this role for about 6 months. I've been in cybersecurity in the field for about 16 years before that, 7 of those at United. So I've spent a lot of time in the cybersecurity space doing a lot of different roles, but this new job as Chief of Staff is a little different, and I enjoy it very much. It's just a little bit of a divergence from my previous path. I'm learning a lot, and it's a great opportunity, and I'll hopefully share a little bit more about what it's like to be a Chief of Staff during this conversation.
Great, thank you, Becky. And Clasonda, what about you?
Thanks so much, Nikisha. I'm Clasonda Armstrong-Grandison, the Senior Manager of UX here at United Airlines. I've got 15 years at the airline right now. I'm celebrating that. I actually started as a contractor on the UX team as a designer and migrated to the brand team and then came back in 2020 to lead the team. I've got over 32 years in digital design, starting initially in print and then migrating into web. But I truly have found home here at the airline.
Awesome. So instead of designing for Elle magazine, you designed for our award-winning app. And so I think that's a good connection. That's a good connection.
I like it.
Tanisha, how about you?
Hi, thanks, Nikisha. So I'm Tanisha Hall. I am IT Director of Application Development. So my team has responsibilities for IT for all of our catering systems, all of our Link mobile device for our flight attendants, as well as our onboard experience. So I partner with several teams over digital technology, as well as our customer strategy and innovation teams, our in-flight services, which are our flight attendants, as well as our analytics teams and customer strategy teams. So just to give you a quick background, I've had kind of internships, a little bit of everywhere. I've been in this industry for over 20 years. I've been at United for almost 15. Prior to that, I was at Johns Hopkins University Applied Physics Lab, where we focused on defense contracts, and then MD Anderson Cancer Center just prior to moving to United. So since I've been here, I have worked with database administration teams where we keep our infrastructure up and running for the application teams, which I'm now part of.
Thank you so much, Tanisha. And while you have the mic, I guess I'll start with my first question, and this will be for all of the panelists. What first attracted you to technology? Did you know what type of career path you wanted? Did you fall into it? Was there like an aha moment? Why did you decide to get into tech?
So I've always had an affinity towards all things technology. I mean, all the way back through junior high school. I can remember creating like a program for my first basic, this was basic, some of you may not even be familiar, but basic programming language. And I did a equation vacation project in 8th grade. And basically you would have like these math equations that you had to complete in order to move along in your vacation. So I've always loved vacationing, hence United, and then always, you know, math and computer science. So once I got to high school, I was able to go to Michigan Tech for a week-long program. And I think that is kind of what sealed the deal. All through college, I knew I was going to be a computer scientist. My friends always called me the gadget queen because I had whatever new that's coming out. So I had like, you know, the Palm Pilot, I had like the Blackberries, you know, when chat first came out, like IRC. I mean, so there are some things that some people may not be familiar with, but I've always had an affinity towards the new things that would come out in technology.
Awesome. And Becky, what about you?
That button didn't work. Okay, so I was first going to say Tanisha's story is really cool. Tanisha's very, very interesting and excellent. I love that story. My background's a little different. I really loved math when I was growing up, and so like I didn't know much about what kind of opportunities were out there for people who liked math. But one thing I did while I was goofing around in my math class was on my TI-83 calculator. You could write little programs to like write little games. I don't think I understood that that was coding. I don't think I knew that that's what it was. But that's kind of one of the first places that I got exposed to what programming was all about. And then like through the course of schooling and playing around in the math field and then moving to physics, I started taking some computer science classes that were just, you know, like maybe MATLAB classes or things like that, that exposed me to what computer science was. And I was like, oh, I'm actually kind of good at this. Like, and everyone else is having a really hard time. So like, I felt like I had a bit of a gift for it. And I was very fortunate in that a lot of the internships I applied to early in my career didn't actually have options in math. They had options in computer science, and I didn't know what that was. But I took a couple college classes while I was in high school and again was very happy that I was doing really well, and it seemed to come really easy to me. So through the course of my career, I mean, in undergrad, I studied physics. I didn't actually study computer science, but I had a bunch of internships that were in that computer science field, and in cybersecurity. So over time, I got to learn by kind of doing, for those experiential learning experiences, and I just kind of fell into it. And after one of my internships, they asked me if I wanted a full-time job in computer science doing cybersecurity. And I said, absolutely, because I was in college and just trying to figure out where to go. And I didn't think it would be my career, but it's absolutely turned into one that I'm super passionate about and love sharing with others.
Awesome. Thank you, Becky. You'd be the person that I'd have to sit next to in math class in college. So that's how we would be connected. Clasonda, how about you?
I was saying me too, because I'm exactly the opposite. I'm truly an art major. My sister was a math major, and I celebrated that in her, and you also, Becky. But numbers were not my jam. I truly was a design girl. I actually am a daughter of an educator. My father was a teacher and encouraged both my sister and I to also be educators. I actually got my degree in art secondary education, so I really should be somewhere teaching high school art and having fun with the kids. But I didn't want to do that. I had enough education in art while studying for the education degree to be aware of technology. I worked at the newspaper at Chicago State University on 95th King Drive in Chicago. And that's where I got introduced to technology. We didn't have a computer in our home or anything like that. But when I joined the newspaper, it was the first thing that like caught my eye when I walked back into the office, and soon learned how to use some of the design software like Quark Express, PageMaker. I'm an old school Adobe girl. I think I've been on Adobe when it was 3.0 or something like that. So that's kind of where I kind of got the bug. And I really liked almost being a peeping Tom on screens to see different interfaces and what you could do with them. And so that's kind of when I got triggered. And I also knew, because I didn't want to teach, I was going to flip that degree over into the corporate arena. So to do that, I just was really hungry and thirsty. And I was willing to take contract positions in order to develop the design skills to prove myself for the work. I also self-studied on my own to educate myself on how to code and how to use some of the other software programs. I really am self-taught and where I have arrived to right now. And basically was fortunate enough to get roles at big brands like Chicago Tribune, IBM. I also spent time at Apple, where I was a creative there. I actually was sent out to Cupertino, where I was trained and certified across a lot of the Apple software that is available. And I ended up being a teacher actually in in Northbrook Court Apple store for the ProCare sessions. My favorite customer was an 85-year-old man who did not understand double clicking. And that was when the teacher in me took over. And so I was able to shift and help him understand why you even need to do that. It didn't really quite make sense to him. And so he also inspired me to understand how to create interfaces for a variety of audiences, things for our younger generation to feel satisfied and enthusiastic about interacting with it. And yet our older generation to not feel left out, but totally to feel included. And so that became a part also of my design mission. I actually have two fabulous daughters who were in private school, and I actually lent some of my talent to their schools so that I could gain free tuition for them for a segment of time. And there I was able to really blossom in redoing that private school's website, which helped them to increase enrollment 30%. And then my daughter went to boarding school. My youngest daughter really wanted to go there. And I was like, girl, you crazy, mommy can't afford this. But somehow it worked out. And I took a job in India as supporting design talent there, mostly in print, in order to get revved up in leading people. And then I was in India for like 3 months. When I was there, I actually was wondering at times, why am I here? And now that I am so deeply invested in the design experience, I totally know why, because it gave me that exposure I needed to be ready for United, really, and for the team that I'm fortunate enough to lead right now with the designers. And then just as I was about to return back to India, I actually interviewed at United Airlines. My daughter was going to this fabulous boarding school and she needed a way to get there. And so an airplane looked pretty good to me to try to help that out. So it was really the driving factor for United Airlines and why I really had the interest there. And then the opportunity to leverage the education background and the design experience that I had accumulated. I found the opportunity in the web designer role to support and be successful.
Clasonda, thank you so much for sharing that background. You've got a couple of comments around your experience, and one of the things that stood out to me was a comment from Ray. I hope you're okay, Ray, with me saying this, but Ray talked about your view on accessibility, and what I heard was that technology is one thing, but the connection with people is another, and those have to be connected. So I'm curious about the connection with people around mentorship throughout your career. So this question is for everyone. Has there been a mentor throughout your careers that has allowed you to gain the connections that you've had, or has helped you throughout your career as you've navigated? And this question is for any of the panelists.
I can go. I wouldn't say it's just one person, and I think that that's what's beautiful about the people that I've gotten to meet throughout my career, is that there's a lot of people that I'll go to for certain situations, or people that have helped me in certain times where I've needed someone to listen or needed someone to give advice. And I'm very, very fortunate that a lot of the people that I've met, especially at my time at United, I consider to be mentors or friendtors. Even whether it's someone who has a higher or lower level than me in the organization, there's always someone that I'm learning from here. Whether it's someone in technology related to a technology specific problem, or it's someone at the greater company helping me learn how United Airlines works, how complicated our lovely little industry is, and that's what makes it great. And so I wouldn't be able to say one person fairly. I think there's a large amount of people who have helped me connect the dots, and it's my job now to help pay it forward to everyone that I meet to.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I would have to agree with that. I believe mentoring is extremely important, and that goes both ways. So for me, like Becky, I've had several mentors all along the way, people who have helped to teach me things that I didn't know, helped to guide me both professionally and personally. And as an act to pay that back, I have what I call collected mentees, unofficially and officially, as part of programs. But I find that extremely satisfying to, kind of help guide the personal and professional development of other people who are, coming up and who are, kind of on their way. I think it's very beneficial for us to, help, enhance the strengths of our mentees, but also help them combat their weaknesses. I think is, very important to do that. And to do that, you have to be willing to, first and foremost, listen. And I find that has really helped me. You have to be empathetic, and you have to gain their trust, in order for them to be able to share some of the things that they're most passionate about. So.
Definitely, I totally agree. Overall, as I was coming along, I didn't really have a firm mentor along the way. There were people that entered my space who came at just the right time to help guide me through questions that I maybe had about how to navigate forward. And I will forever be grateful to those people, because they truly made a difference as to whether or not I stayed or went back to the classroom and started to teach again, and just following my father's footsteps. Since then, I now recognize the power of having a mentor, and I volunteer to be one. Especially to the designers that I'm fortunate enough to work alongside, to give them that opportunity to know that I'm here for them. I'm vested in their dreams that they have for their career. We both have skin in the game. And I just volunteer it up because I know how powerful it can be to keeping your head focused on what those goals are you have for your career. And I want to help people be excited about the possibility. I know the struggle that I felt like I had in trying to flip an education degree into the industry and prove that I was a strong designer. And if I can make that road easy for somebody, I'm up for the game.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. And I am wanting to just shift gears a little bit and talk a little bit about careers and how to advance your careers and how to learn in your career. And my next question is for you, Tanisha. We have so many products at United, so many new and interesting technologies, and you've worked on a number of them. So just even some of the recent technologies around our pre-order meals. With COVID, we released technologies around contactless payment, agent on demand, all of these different technologies. Can you tell us a little bit about how your involvement or how involvement in new technologies allow for advancement? And what type of advice would you have for this Women Who Code community that might be interested in working on new technologies or new systems?
Good question, Nikisha. So we are always looking for ways to utilize the latest technology. But we don't want to just plug and play, right? If there's something out in the industry, we don't just want to say, hey, let's just use it anywhere. We want to figure out where it makes sense, right? We want to figure out, what are the benefits to United to using this new technology? Does it make us more efficient? Does it decrease our costs? How can we best serve our customers? How can we best serve our employees with this new technology? So a couple of items that you mentioned, my team was responsible for those. So during the time of COVID in 2020, when people were flying right around March, April, May timeframe, people suspected that COVID was passed through touching of items. Well, when you hand your credit card to the flight attendant, right, it's a possibility that, COVID would have been passed. And so we saw a need there on the team to figure out how do we make it so that our customers don't have to pass their credit cards to the flight attendants, and the flight attendants don't have to pass them back. There's no touching. And so that was a huge benefit for United. We worked with many different teams in digital technology with our mobile app team, .com team, to get this in place. But we could actually see the immediate benefits. Customers were happy that they didn't have to pass, their credit cards. Pre-order meals for some of our premium customers, if you're 20 seats and this is primarily first class, there's only so many beef dishes and chicken dishes and vegetarian dishes that we would just load on a plane. Well, there's a need if we have premium customers and they're paying these prices. How do we make it so that we don't run out of the beef dish or we don't run out of the vegetarian dish? And so our teams kind of worked together and we saw that need so that now we can, customers can actually do the pre-order and figure out, hey, we can give you exactly what you want. So there was a need there. There's benefit to United, and customers are extremely happy that they were able to do that. And we've seen the customer satisfaction rates grow increasingly about since those products were launched. As for somebody who is interested in getting into new technology, learn something new. Figure out where you can be beneficial. There are, AWS is huge at United right now, right? We're moving a lot of our applications to AWS. Take some time and go off and learn that if that's what you're interested in. If you're interested in making sure that you always have a place for advancement, you will have to kind of move with the tide. And so I would, suggest, definitely take it upon yourself to learn those new skills, to kind of be able to give back to the company.
Thank you so much, Tanisha. And just a shameless plug, the Agent on Demand product just was awarded the CIO 100 award. So we're really proud about some of the product
Absolutely.
innovations
Our
at United.
colleagues built that program where you don't have to stand in line, wait for an agent on the phone. If your flight is canceled, you can scan the QR code and you'll have a live agent that can help you. So definitely colleagues. Sorry about the fire truck in the back.
No worries. This is real life, Tanisha. Things like that happen. So we're talking about more experienced hires. I wanted to switch gears to folks that are looking to get their foot in the door or interested in a career change. So there are a lot of programs out there, boot camps out there that allow you to learn new tools, new technologies. And this question is for Becky in particular. Really curious around how someone who is perhaps entry level or looking for a career change could get into tech.
This is a hard question. There's a lot of different ways, a lot of different paths that people find their way in. I will talk a little bit about one of the programs that I am responsible for. So we have an entry program that we call the Early Career Digital Learning Program, which we have done a lot of work to recruit folks into who are starting their careers. And one of the reasons we like this program a lot is that it's a rotational program. It's a 2-year program with 4 rotations in different areas of our digital technology team, where you can learn about different things that we do. I mean, digital technology at a large company like ours is massive. There's so many different facets. There's so many different things to do. That's one of the reasons I love it. But we get people into those programs through some of our internship programs, through our feeder programs, but also we do recruiting at certain schools. And we also have gotten folks from non-traditional backgrounds who've come in, and those are some of my favorite. I see one of them on here who was a former flight attendant. So again, the folks who go out and learn, have a boot camp or find their way into the field, this program gives us a really great kind of stepping in point to get folks in to our team. We're very fortunate that we have a large investment in that program, and we've had a lot of folks in there. And that's one of the best things I found at United for sure. For other folks, if you're not interested at United, there's other ways to get into these programs. There certainly, I will say that internships lead normally to a good path to get some of that experience that's helpful for getting a full-time role. But transitioning, it's a little hard. It's hard to make sure that when you go into the interview, you've got the necessary experience you need to do the role, and then also, to fit in and learn. But I think Tanisha said it really well, just constantly learning, being able to prove to the interviewer that you are someone who is willing to learn and willing to grow. I think that's really one of the key things about getting into the field. And also, try, if you're not having luck at those big companies, try smaller companies where you can get to do a bunch of different things. That's something, especially for folks entering cybersecurity, that I try to give that advice to. You may not have cybersecurity in your job title at a small company, but everyone needs some kind of cybersecurity. So even if you start in a more IT role, you can probably work your way around until you find the people who are doing security or become that person. And it gives you some of that experience that will be helpful to get you to the next level.
Thank you so much, Becky. And judging by the chat, there are some fans of the ECDLP program on the call. So thank you to those.
Represent. I see a couple of our folks who didn't come from the traditional path in here.
That's awesome. And this next question is for everybody. And Clasonda, I'm going to start with you. What about those folks who may be in their role, they've been doing their role for a bit of time, and they might feel stuck, right? So if you're feeling a little bit stuck in your career, what steps can you take to help reignite your passion?
Oh, great question. I would say make sure you're keeping your presence with other people who are on the climb. That natural energy is infectious and will keep you motivated. Other things to do are to not expect those opportunities to come your way, but to seek them out. And you may need to go outside of the box to do that. For example, How did I overcome not having a lot of design experience? I started my own freelance company called Graphic Suit. And I took on a variety of customers that gave me the opportunity to create identities, web presences, and print collateral that built up the portfolio that I was able to promote once I was in interviews to showcase my design skills. So thinking outside of the box, what can you do in your own time and space to be proactive in gaining new knowledge? I was also willing to do conferences and fairs that perhaps the companies I worked for were not willing to send me to. I sent myself. I used to attend a conference that Apple did every year religiously, just to stay on top of my game. And definitely once I had evolved from doing print design and took the red pill and started doing web design and crossed over into digital, I felt like not keeping up with technology was sudden death. So I really focused on books at that time because the internet was still up and coming, and then websites that had material that was relevant to the subject matter area that I wanted to get in, and that included UX design. So being able to be a crawler and motivated under your own muscle to gain new knowledge, be willing to do that. And from my perspective, you will find success.
Wonderful, thank you. Becky, Tanisha, anything else you'd like to add?
I actually want to add something to that. That is amazing, Clasonda. I mean, you know, I wanted to add, there are programs that we have here for people who are feeling stuck, like you feel like you want to do something else and you don't know how to do it. It's what we call stretch roles. And there are opportunities here for you to work with another team for a period of time, right? That time is negotiated with the team you'll be working with, as well as your current management team. But it allows you to go to a completely new area where you may not have really any experience and you get to learn in that area. I have absolutely seen that here in the last 6 months. I've worked with people from different teams who've just come over, and it can last from anywhere from 8 weeks to 6 months. So maybe seek out opportunities like that. Check in with your management team or your mentor at the same company and see if there are opportunities for you to work in a different area, just a completely different area. I think that is super helpful for you to get not only more experience, but it helps you to network and you get to know people in different areas. So that's just something I wanted to add to what Clasonda shared.
Yeah, I'll chime in too. Not every period of your career will be, rainbows and daisies. And there's going to be times when you're either going to feel stuck or feel like you're in the wrong spot. And that trying to get unstuck is challenging. But one thing that I have found really helpful is, again, to lean on your support network, to open yourself up to experiences, and also kind of level set with yourself. Like, do a set of understanding of your values. Like try to understand like what's important to you. What makes Becky tick? What makes you tick? And try to figure out how to go find that again. For me, I mean, I have been very fortunate in that I haven't stayed in one place super long at United. I've had probably 7 or 8 different jobs in my 7 years here. And I love that. I love that there is something else new that I can learn, more dots that I can connect, and don't stay somewhere that you don't feel appreciated and you don't feel that people are looking out for you. Go find that next thing. Take it on yourself. You own your career. You always own your career. So go out there and go find what makes you excited. Go find what makes you feel that you're living in your values. And just take care of yourself. It's just a job. It's important. It's important to love what you do. It's important to feel like your work is appreciated. But at the end of the day, you are not your job. And if it's not going well, it's not on you. You go out there and go find something that works for you.
I got just one more to add to that I know we all had on our radar and I don't want to leave out. Be willing to do the side hustle. You know how we do those with the wobble, that dance we do at parties, you got to be able to wobble to the side. You know what I mean? And do something maybe for a little while that you didn't want to do, just so you can wobble on up. You know what I mean? So
the analogy I've heard once is that your career is not a ladder, it's a rock climbing wall.
Yes.
Which exactly. I have loved. As soon as I heard that, that's it. That's
Bro, yeah.
That really stuck with me because again, like moving over to the side, there is nothing wrong with that. A lot of the people that you see that are up there being successful, you just assume they all went straight up. It's not the case. So play around, learn something new. I bet you'll have a great time with that.
So we are climbing rock walls, we are wobbling, we are doing all of those things as we think about our new careers. That is phenomenal. Thank you so much for this advice. Last question. Each of you are growing your own teams, right? I mentioned United is hiring about 400 new roles in digital technology right now. Tell me a little bit about any openings or opportunities that you have on your team and how you're growing your teams.
I'll jump out there first. Thanks for asking this question. I'm really excited about this one, especially with this audience. So currently, our core UX design team is looking for 2 UX designers and 2 senior UX designers. And we are looking for folks that are passionate, definitely understand the UX process, definitely understand how to have empathy for the user, which is our customer here at United Airlines. But I like to find people that are on fire for it. When I see people that are also creating their own app or doing something outside of the box, maybe not to the degree that you have your own business, but you're doing projects for friends so that you can gain new knowledge. I see somebody there who is focused on their craft and will be a great person to add to our team. So I'm looking for folks like that. And we're excited to have them come and join United and then be able to see the world. I think one of the things we like to say is that you get to fly for free, y'all, so come on back.
And I will just plug a recent position that I've posted for a senior technical lead on my team. So we build applications for our flight attendants. If you've flown on United, you see that they hold a little iPhone device. And so we are building applications for that. I am looking for somebody specifically that is very technical, who has a background in iOS development or and Java backend development, if possible. But we're really looking for a leader. Somebody who can lead several development teams. We have many initiatives, like I said, going on for these applications, but we really need a strong leader and an effective communicator, and somebody who is technical and who really understands and can bring teams together, both our development teams as well as our business teams. Our business teams really have a hand in everything that we do, because we also want to make sure not only that our customers are well taken care of, we want to make sure that we take care of our employees also.
And last but not least, I'll plug every job we have. So I just sent a link in the chat to our careers page. This lists all of the digital technology jobs we have in data science, in cybersecurity, in continuous improvement, in development, in user experience, you name it. All of the ones that we have are listed over there in that link. If you just go to careers.united.com, there's actually a link that says digital technology that takes you to the same place. But this is, I mean, I love doing technology here. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that this is one of the coolest places to do it. People may not think of technology when they think of United Airlines. People often ask me if I'm a flight attendant or a pilot, but we have a huge technology department here that gets to work on the coolest stuff. So definitely take a look at some of those roles, and if any of those speak to you, definitely apply.
One thing about working for United is you never have to wonder where your work is. You go to the airport, you see your work. You get on the airplane, you see your work. You look at your mobile app, you see your work. So, you know, that's one thing. One reason why I really love to work here is, the work that we are doing in digital technology here, you can pretty much see it everywhere. So
I just got one more ad there too, and then I'm really done, y'all. The innovation, being able to solve for our customer. The Travel Ready Center is a part of that thinking. Trip planner that we just recently came out with is a part of that thinking. Yes, we want to improve how our digital touch points assist the customer and so that they feel as if we are with them in the journey, but we also want to create other tools that they may find useful to help de-stress that whole travel experience. And so we're constantly looking at how can we ideate and learnings from other industries that we could maybe include into our digital experience so that the customer really sees that we're thinking about them wholeheartedly and helping them to see the world.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.
And I just have to, I'm sorry, go ahead, Anna. I was just going to say, I get to be a consumer of these technologies. So I don't have to wait in a long line to upload my vaccination card or any documents when I fly. I literally do it from my mobile device and it saves about an hour. And I have 2 kids. I don't like to wait in lines at the airport with 2 kids. So it is truly, it changes the experience for you and your families, the technologies that we deliver. And I love that I'm a consumer of it. And I was wondering if we could maybe switch to Q&A and potentially showcase the QR codes as well.
Yes, absolutely. I have, we have a great question. I'm just going to reshare my screen and I see exactly what happened last time with the video. So one moment. Okay, yes. So here are the QR codes. So we got a really great question that I am excited to hear the answer to, and then we might have a time for the video in the end. But what is one of the coolest projects that you've ever worked on, and what impact did it have?
Cool. Can I go? I'm really excited. I've had so many favorite projects that I've worked on, especially at United. But one of the ones that I hold dear is a work that we did to look at the cybersecurity of the components on the aircraft, the computers that are on there that serve software loading and all of the in-flight entertainment systems. So we got to do, I mean, this was several years ago, and it wasn't my full-time job at the time, but I turned it into a full-time job later on in my career. And we got to look at all of the ways that technology touches the aircraft and how it's segmented and how it's secure. And that to me was probably one of the coolest projects I've ever worked on. So going out into the airport, into the hangars to check out how all of this technology worked was just so fascinating. It was a world I didn't know very well before, and now I am hooked. It is a very, very different type of technology than your regular desktop or your regular laptop computer. But the connected aircraft, that's probably anytime I get to work with that's probably one of my favorite projects.
I'll go next. Did I mention I have an amazing design team? Did I mention that? So I really am grateful that I get to work with the designers that we have right now. And they ideated a project called Search by Image, which is basically like a Shazam of sorts, where you can upload a photo and then find out where it is and then actually book a flight to that destination. Isn't that fabulous? So that got me really revved up, and some of the other ideas like the Travel Ready Center and Trip Planner that we also have come up with. So just being able to work with gifted designers, I get revved up every day.
And I kind of mentioned 2 projects that my team has worked on, but most recently what has been really cool with our contactless payments is we have partnered with PayPal so that you don't even have to upload your credit card to United's digital wallet anymore. You can actually just use your PayPal if you have the PayPal app on your phone and you are in flight, you can just pull it up and show your QR code and purchase snacks on board directly. And that was all due to my team working on that to deliver more options to the customers for payments. So that is one of the coolest things. We see all the billboards up in the airport now. And I think they're still giving $15 back if you use your PayPal app for the first time in flight. So.
We have one last question here. Jorge wants to know, how does technologies made for employee, like work groups, differ from the technology made for customers? And I guess also, which ones do you touch the most?
So I don't think technology is necessarily made differently for employee work groups. There's just other things that you have to think about when you're working with the employee group. So, for example, Jorge, as for flight attendants and for pilots, especially, the pilot groups, there are potentially FAA regulations that we have to get approved before we create that software. I don't think the technology behind it is different. We just have to go through a more rigorous process to get things approved.
And from my side of the house, we have a design system for our customer-facing look and feel, and then there's also a design system for our employee experiences. And that system is thoughtful to how they are always interacting with technology in their work environment. There's some adjustments to color and how things are rendered on the screen to make it a great experience for them. So definitely by doing field research with employees to see how they're using the technology that our teams are putting out there, and then crafting it in a way that they're successful when they're interacting with it is kind of how we raise up for our internal UX work that we have here.
Well, I wanted to thank you all so much. We're wrapping up here. If we'd like, Nikisha, we can try to end on the exciting video one more time, or if anyone has any final words, I leave it to our amazing panelists and our wonderful moderator to close it out.
No, I'll just, first of all, want to thank the panelists that have participated today. Tanisha, Becky, and Clasonda, your passion is palpable. And I just really appreciate all of the work that you've done to accelerate United. And thank you for showcasing that today. And to all of the members of Women Who Code, appreciate you joining the call today. And thank you for your attention, your engagement, and your questions. And Anna, let's do it. Let's showcase the video.
Let's give it a try. I've been taught by the panelists today to try new things and always learn new things. So I would like to try to do it. Let's see
Anna,
here. Okay.
Let's do the wobble. Let's do
exactly.
Wobble, video.
There's no doubt that the last 22 months have had a tremendous impact on the airline and travel industry. But I'm here today to tell you a little bit about how we at United have managed that journey.
Never let a good crisis go to waste. And at United, we absolutely haven't. We say that we've made 10 years of progress just in the last year. We took small, mission-based teams and said, eliminate all the waste and focus just on what do our customers need, what do our employees need, and how do we deliver it in hours or days instead of months or years.
We started with some sensors, and the idea was if you're gonna have an intelligent airport, you gotta know where all of your assets are. You gotta know where they're located, the last time it was seen, what kind of asset it is, who made it, and is it in motion or not or parked. But that was just the first step. The real excitement started to happen when you started to see all of those pieces fit together. And we started to ask ourselves a lot more interesting questions. Like, is the route that piece of equipment taking the best route it could go?
received a lot of accolades on the Travel Ready Center from both customers and our frontline employees. They find it as a tool that really helps them understand what is needed to travel. They show up at the airport ready, travel ready, and prepared and excited to get on their flight.
And then the security and compliance implications of that, you know, from an airline perspective, we hadn't dealt with that type of personal information. Of course, we secure, you know, passports and credit card information, but when you're talking about vaccination records, how do we do that in a secure manner and gain the trust of our customers that they want to be able to do that, and they're confident that we will secure and protect their information.
I don't see us as divisions or partners. I see us as just a team working together to solve issues.
I also want to remind you about the importance of working in an inclusive way. The results, particularly in a crisis, speak for itself. It's why we believe so strongly that inclusion propels innovation.
I believe when we include various groups from around the company and people with different backgrounds, we get a better outcome for our customers and our employees at the end.
So I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Thank you so much to United and all of our panelists. It's been a pleasure meeting all of you, and this has been a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much, and everyone have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you, Anna and Women Code. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much.
All right, thank you all.